All right, Arvin, we're back for another one. I've gotten this question already several times this week from various Amazon sellers and brand owners, but what happens when I lose the buy box? Why is this happening? How do I fix it? Why can't Amazon ever tell me what the reason is that I lost my buy box? There's a whole all kinds of different topics and just questions that come up with the buy box, and it really impacts your business when you don't have the
hmm
buy box. So I guess let's just start by talking about how can you lose the buy box, and how does Amazon kind of factor in their decision to take the buy box away from you?
Yeah. Well, first thing, I mean, the answer, there's actually no specific answer on that one, especially that buybacks is algorithm based. So if you will raise a case of seller support, yeah, you will definitely get an answer to them that that it's too templated or too generic because there is no known solution within their the back
Right,
end or on their
because
system because it's
it's based on
algorithm
an
based.
algorithm. Yeah.
Yeah. But the thing or the reason why rather why you're losing your buybacks is well competition. That's one. The second is that and we can dig further on those stuff on the stuff that I will be sharing. The second is that Amazon is not only just considering the Amazon environment, they are also referencing your pricing within in other marketplaces or other platforms like Walmart, eBay, and if they see that your product that you're selling in Amazon is maybe too high or too low compared to whatever it is selling right now in the other platform or even in retail stores like Target and Walmart, then yeah, they will definitely lose that. They have some system that is detecting this pricing, and if it is violating the fair pricing policy, then they will remove the buybacks on their account.
Mhm.
Then also you may consider looking at your like how you set up your pricing in the past. Maybe you're adjusting it too low, like you jump like from $50 and then you reduce it to $20. Amazon will not like that. Or maybe you like before it was $50 and then you adjusted it to be $70 because you're running low on inventory. So they all Amazon also will not like that. It's against their fair pricing policy. Then there's one thing I was thinking as well earlier. I forgot.
Fulfillment.
Um, yeah, fulfillment. Like if you are fulfilling it by a merchant and then the shipment, because especially if you lost the Prime badge, so then mostly Amazon customers they are they have this Prime membership, and if you lose that Prime badge, then they have to pay for the shipping, and so that adds up to the cost of the product. So that again, it's against their fair pricing policy violation. Then the second or the last one I would say for sure there are a lot more is that if you've run promotion in the past, maybe you've set this one to be like you've created maybe 50% discount in the past just trying to boost your sale, and then now Amazon algorithm says that your pricing is too high or too low, then
Mhm.
yeah, the Amazon will remove your buyback. So then if you believe that you're not violating that policy, and it's just really that you created the promotion, then you can reiterate that to seller support that yeah, I just ran a promotion. It's not that I set my retail price to be this way. So
Right.
yeah, but
Cool. Yeah.
then
So the
again, it's algorithm based. Go on,
yeah,
sorry,
and
man.
that's the trick. Well, that's all I was gonna say is that's the tricky thing is there. Amazon. There are when you're the seller on Amazon, there's certain things that you have the ability to take action on and get fixed or resolved, or open a case and get information. And then there's certain other things that are algorithm based, and even the rep that's on the other end, they can't do anything. The buy box is one of those, right? So that's why
Yeah,
when you open these cases, the reps will just give a canned response because they don't have any control over it at all. It's the algorithm that's deciding that. However, we need to then focus on kind of the way to solve this is by focusing on the underlying issues, which are the ones you just broke down. And so, I mean, we can talk a little bit deeper on each one, starting with the first one, which is competition. So if you're
mhm,
selling on Amazon and maybe you're a reseller, so you're competing against 20, 30, 40 other people for the buy box, obviously that's going to be a huge one. And normally it's going to be price, and I think they take your seller history a little bit into account. I'm not positive on that. But,
Yeah,
essentially, and I'm saying that because sometimes you'll see that I'm selling for a cheaper price than this other reseller, but why are they getting the buy box? It could be that they have a long history of good seller performance. Another one, and that's a big one, is where did Amazon actually distribute the inventory to? So if you're doing FBA, if I'm here in Los Angeles and I'm buying a product, and you shipped all your inventory in from the East Coast, and maybe Amazon told you to put it in these warehouses, maybe they're going to put another seller over here when I look in the buy box because that person's closer to me with their inventory. And so it makes more sense in their supply chain. But anyway, so competition, you have a lot more challenges because you're competing against a lot of sellers. It's normally going to be pricing or the seller kind of history, or it's going to be maybe where the inventory is actually placed. Um, I've seen we've worked with some brands too that they're the brand owner, but they do allow wholesalers or resellers, which can take many different shapes and forms. And sometimes Amazon becomes one of those resellers if they find and
yeah,
liquidate some inventory or whatever, which is always frustrating. So that one, it's really a case of I think monitoring your pricing and trying to figure out what to do with pricing. The next one, what was number two? I can't remember what the second one was. Was
yeah.
it
Okay, I
pricing?
cannot.
Okay,
It's
I think
it's not really about pricing. It's just more on the selling it in like your listing in all of the platforms, maybe eBay or even on
yeah.
retail stores as well. So yeah, about those fair pricing policy. So you just have to check like how much you're selling this one. If you are the brand seller or you're the private label seller and you're selling it in other platforms, might as well check them because Amazon they have an algorithm that is detecting the pricing in other stores. So check how much you set the prices in there. And maybe not you, maybe other sellers that are selling your products in there that may be too high or too low. Then
Yeah,
you can take action.
this one's one of the ones that makes me the most upset and frustrated. But essentially, Amazon's gotten really good at crawling the internet and looking at everywhere else to make sure the price that you have is the same or cheaper than anywhere else. So if you're selling on your own direct to consumer website and you're like, hey, we want to run a promotion here on our $24.99 product, and you drop it by $5 for a month, but you don't change it on Amazon because there's fees that you have to pay and you want to make a margin there. Amazon could, it normally is not right away, but detect, oh, you're actually selling your product for $20. So we're going to remove you from the buy box because this is a listing that now no longer has competitive pricing, which is really frustrating. And that's when you want to think about other tactics like, hey, maybe instead of doing the price reduction on our website, we give a coupon that people can enter a promo code. So the price still shows at that full price that's matching Amazon. That's a way to kind of get around that. But yeah, it's even harder when you're talking about being a reseller, online arbitrage, whatever, and now you're competing against people that are doing the same thing all over the place, where you have less control over your product and your supply chain. So that's a really, really
Yeah.
frustrating one. But if you do lose buy box, it's worth doing just a Google search of your product or maybe by the UPC or something else and trying to see, oh, is anyone selling it elsewhere for a cheaper price? So that's one tactic you can do there. And sometimes it does take a time for it to get resolved too. Like you might get that fixed and then it might still take 2 weeks. So it can impact your business really significantly. So it's good to be aware of that as well. Fulfillment. That's honestly, I think, the biggest one. But yeah, any comments or anything else you want to add to the fulfillment piece? So FBM, FBA, and then we have seller fulfilled prime, which is kind of in between.
Yeah, so that's one. I mean, the only reason why I said that is that I used to have this one client that asked me why they also cannot figure out why they are losing the buy box. Like the pricing is similar or the same as how it was. They didn't run a promotion, and it is fulfilled by them. And then they realized that they lost their seller fulfilled prime. So then they're now asking their customers to pay for the shipping. So and it being now that the shipment is being factored in the total price and in Amazon algorithm, it shows that the pricing is higher than before. So so that's one thing to look at if you're actually losing your seller fulfilled prime badge, and that will affect your pricing history.
Yeah. I think the fulfillment method is by far the single biggest thing that normally resolves
Mm-hmm.
your or causes your buy box issues. Amazon favors you sending your products into FBA. FBA is then going to get obviously the Prime badge, fast delivery speeds, blah, blah, blah. So honestly, I've seen in so many cases that if sellers just switch from doing FBM to doing sending it into FBA and doing that, within a couple of weeks, their issues are resolved. Like I honestly think that's probably the heaviest weighted one or one of them. So just something to
Yeah,
throw
there
out
are
there.
just some, it's not related to the topic, and the reason why sellers are actually fulfilling it by FBM is just sometimes it doesn't meet the requirements. Also, sometimes it's not worth sending it to FBA because the dimension is either too big or too heavy. So the
Sure.
FBA fee will much higher than fulfilling it by themselves. So
Yeah,
yeah,
that's a good point.
so
Yeah, and that's true. And those are the tricky situations too. Um,
yeah.
what else? I think did we cover it all? I think that's pretty much it. Or is there anything else that we missed?
Well, since we're talking about buy box and pricing, well, Amazon they have this on your Seller Central. There's a pricing dashboard where you can actually set some rules in there so that you will win the buy box. It's something that you have to be cautious about, especially if you're competing with many resellers. And then if you set the rule that whatever will be the lowest price, you will automatically adjust your pricing to the same as how much they set their pricing, then maybe you will lose more money on that. But then at the same time, as a private label seller, what you can do is that you can also set a minimum and maximum price so that if any of your customer try to piggyback on your listing and they set the price too low just for them to sell it, or maybe too high for them to sell it, then Amazon will detect it because you have this minimum and maximum price set rules on the back end of your listing, and they won't be able to, to do anything about it because you
Yeah,
are the
that's
brand
a great
owner.
tip. Yeah, that's a really good
Yeah.
tip. I like that a lot. I haven't thought about that ever, but that is a really good one. And I think just final piece I just wanted to reiterate too is the other thing I've seen a ton was that I think is the third or fourth. I can't remember the order, but one of the ones you mentioned, which is thinking about your promotion and marketing strategy. Like if you drop your price because you want to liquidate some inventory that's maybe aged at Amazon, let's just say hypothetically, and so you drop your price 25% for a month, and then out of nowhere you increase it again to the normal price. Amazon might flag that and say, "Oh, our algorithm says that the price should be this reduced price you just had. So now we're marking this as non-competitive and knocking you out of the buy box, which now sucks." So be mindful of that. It's always wise, I think, to try not to do these massive swings in pricing or use something else, maybe like a coupon or there's other kind of tactics there. But I have seen that cause a lot of trouble for some of the brands we've worked with over the years.
Yeah. Another thing I want to throw in, though it's not related to pricing or buyback, since we're talking about being cautious, you may also want to set something on the back end of your product listing that, like, as to maximum quantity that your customer can order. Because sometimes by mistake, or let's say, for example, you've opted in on that automatic pricing to adjust your price automatically to the lowest price that has been set. And
Mm,
then now your Amazon customer, they can buy as many as they want because you didn't set that maximum quantity that they can order. So you will lose a lot of money on that. But if you set, let's say, any customer in every order that they will make, they can only purchase maximum of 2 or even 5 units, then they have. I mean, if they still want to continue buying, they can, but they have to make like many orders to in order to do that. Instead of just if you have nothing, then in one order they can steal all of your inventory from you, and you cannot do anything about it, especially if it is FBA, because right now Amazon will not cancel any FBA order. And if you're an FBM seller and that happened to you, then you can cancel it, but the risk is that your account may be at risk of getting deactivated because of many order that you will cancel because of that incorrect purchase. So
yeah,
yeah, setting
it's
that
good.
maximum quantity will help as well.
Yeah, that's a good call out. You can prevent some very expensive mistakes. So, Arvin, I think we covered a lot. If anyone does have buy box questions or wants to learn more, wants us to go deeper on something or another topic, let us know down below in the comments, and we'll put any relevant links down there as well. And any parting words? Do we cover it all?
I think, yeah, that's it for now. I mean, for sure, there's a lot more to cover in there.
Cool. Well, we'll be back next week for another video, and yeah, we'll see you all soon. Cheers.